Dear audience, we are honored today to welcome distinguished ambassador, diplomats, as well as who serve in different areas and countries, representing our country, Ethiopia, with over a decade of experience in public and parliamentary diplomacy. He has served as an ambassador to Kenya, Egypt, Zimbabwe, as well as Sweden, and spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, representing Ethiopia in different voices, in different arena. A warm welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.
Today we focus on Ethiopian foreign policy, its objective. Ethiopia has a diplomatic hub and its role in shaping regional and continental diplomacy. Dear Ambassador, please let us start with a bit more about yourself, your journey, career, as well as your experience serving as a diplomat.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I was born in Ethiopian province formerly known as Arsi, now in Oromia region. I went to school in there, at the high school in Asella. Then I got my first degree in Addis Ababa University, in the University of Sidiskilo, in political science and international relations. Then I joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs after having my first degree. Then I served in various departments. The first department I was assigned to in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was Department of Africa and Middle East. It used to be called Africa and Middle East by then. Now Middle East is different now. But after serving in that department for some years, I was transferred to another department called Asia and Australasia. From there I was assigned as a diplomat to Canada, Ottawa, where I served for about 6 years. Then from Ottawa I was transferred to Washington Embassy, where I served for about 3 years. Then came back home, promoted to the level of Director General, and I became the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. As a matter of fact, the first spokesperson of that ministry was me. The ministry used not to have a Ministry of Foreign Affairs before that. Then after serving as spokesperson, I was appointed as an ambassador to Zimbabwe, which you have mentioned, where I used to represent my country to other countries like Zambia, Mozambique, Angola, and Mauritius. After serving there for 4 years, I was cross-transferred to Sweden, where I used to be an ambassador to all Scandinavian countries, Norway, Finland, Denmark, and Iceland. Came back home, served as spokesperson, then appointed as an ambassador to Kenya. It's a very long journey, actually. While I was in Kenya, I was also appointed as an ambassador to being in Kenya, having my seat in Kenya. I used to be ambassador to Mauritius and Malawi as well, and Tanzania also. By then we didn't have an ambassador in Tanzania, now we do have an embassy there. Then to Cairo, came back home, then became a spokesperson, served for a while, and then now I'm a member of the House of People's Representatives, member of the Foreign Relations and Peace Standing Committee, as well as the chairperson of the Friendship Group of Western Europe in the EU.
All right, our dear audience, Ambassador, how do you define regional integration in the context of Horn of Africa, and why is it important?
Regional integration is an integration among member states. In fact, this vision had been there during the formation of the African Union in 1963. The then leaders who formed the African Union thought about having one Africa, with one flag, one national anthem, one army, one institution. But there was an idea which came out which says Africa cannot be immediately one country now, so that should come through regional integrations, gradual integration, which we can realize And that is why institutions for regional integrations like the IGAD, which we have in East Africa, the ECOWAS for West Africa, the SADC for Southern Africa, has come into existence. So the objective of these institutions is actually to process, to hasten, to realize regional integrations among member countries. There are pillars for regional integrations. For example, if you take the Horn of Africa, these pillars will be fostering economic integrations, economic growth, creating stability. These are some of the pillars for the regional integration. Connectivity of infrastructures. And connections through trade and other businesses. So this is the very objective. These are the major pillars. There are economic pillars, political pillars, social pillars, and security pillars. And based on this, regional integration could be realized despite all the challenges. When it comes to our Horn of Africa, we have major challenges which we can talk eventually, and these challenges should be overcome so that regional integration should be realized. In fact, this is a vision of the founders of the African Union, or big founders of the African Union, the then independent African countries who came together to form the AU, which now has transferred itself into the African Union.
Ethiopia is being called as a diplomatic hub. So what role Ethiopia is being playing on the front line?
Well, you said it very well. Ethiopia is a hub. Ethiopia is the center of our territory, of our region. It's in fact the second largest populous country in Africa. It has so many peculiar natures, like it has been the independent country in Africa that maintained its independence. That is why it was at the front of the founding fathers of the OAU. If you see Ethiopia, if you take Ethiopia now, you know it very well. Ethiopia shares population, culture, custom with the neighboring countries. We can cite the examples of countries. For example, if you take Kenya, we do have the significant Kenyan population who have similar culture, similar language, similar custom with the Ethiopians. We can take our Boranas. If you take Somalia, the largest Somali community out of proper Somalia is in Ethiopia. If you take Djibouti, both major tribes of Djibouti, Afar and Isa, they are also in Ethiopia. Same thing with Eritrea. The Tigray-speaking people of Ethiopia and Eritrea. We can have Afars in Eritrea as well. By the same token, we have Afars in Ethiopia. So this presence is a big bridge for Ethiopia to act as a hub, as a country at the front of bringing together the integration of the region. The very formation of the IGAD also has this objective of creating united Africa after creating regional unions, regional integrations like the one we envisage through IGAD here. This will bring integration through infrastructure, this will bring integration through trade, integration through tourism, integration through other means as well. The need for integration is out there, and Ethiopia can play a vital role in realizing the integration of our region.
Some scholars say that public diplomacy as well as parliamentary diplomacy are complementary. What is your view on this?
Yeah, definitely the parliamentary diplomacy complements other diplomacy because this is a diplomacy that constitutes the major portion of people-to-people's relationship. For example, now Ethiopian Parliament is working on strengthening parliamentary friendship group. We do have parliamentary group friendship group for all regions. We do have it for Africa, we do have for Latin America, we do have for Asia, we have it for Europe as well. So through this parliamentary friendship, there will be, parliament is actually the representatives of the people. If the institutions like parliament come together, if they integrate, if they work together, if they are aligned their efforts at creating stability, prosperity, and the strength of a nation, definitely they will have a very significant outcome. That is why we say parliamentary diplomacy complements other diplomacies. There are diplomatic activities that you carry out through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which is mainly carried out through embassies and consular offices abroad. Apart from this, parliamentarians also could act as diplomats. Parliamentary institutions like friendship groups and others can act also as tools for strengthening relationship and diplomatic relations.
As being the member of House of People's Representative and as well the standing committee, what do you expect or what do you see about the progress of Ethiopia's role in the continental arena?
Yeah, definitely as the parliamentarians, apart from formulating rules and regulations, apart from overseeing the implementations of rules and regulations that is formulated by the parliament, we look also into interactions with the rest of the world. There are a lot of parliamentarians who have been paying a visit to Ethiopia, and the reverse visit is also there. This will enable these two institutions to talk on bilateral relations, to strengthen relationship in terms of economy, to strengthen relationship in other fields, in cultural areas, to strengthen relationship in the areas of international issues of common interest to all of them. So Ethiopian Parliament is also acting as a tool for strengthening Ethiopian relations abroad. It's also working as an institution that helps to strengthen Ethiopian national interest, be it political interest, social interest, cultural interest, or economic interest. So we can see a vivid, very outstanding experience and practices by the parliamentarians.
All right, let us talk about the economic integration around the Horn of Africa. What opportunity do economic integration create in the Horn of Africa countries as a general?
Well, economic integrations, cooperations in economic areas, cooperation through trade, cooperation through investment, cooperation in the areas of other economic activities would in fact help Africa to prosper, will help Africa to strengthen its economic capacity, would help Africa to also to overcome poverty and underdevelopment. There will be an opportunity of sharing experiences, widening the level of trade, the volume of trade between African countries, between the Horn countries, would enable the Horn nations to stand together and to exploit their resources, an exchange of experiences. So this will bring economic capacities in the area of agriculture, industry, trade, and others. So the economic integration is actually basis for all other forms of integrations. Political integrations come through economic integrations. Integration in other areas, cooperation in other areas like security areas will be strengthened if economic interdependence, if economic integration, if economic cooperation is very strong. In these areas, well, we can talk about infrastructure, link through infrastructure. For example, Ethiopia is trying its level best through building or constructing railroads to neighboring countries.
Yeah, connecting to Djibouti.
Exactly. Through, in fact, realizing the delivery of energy from its energy sector.
Yeah, construction of Grand Renaissance Dam.
Exactly, the construction of Grand Renaissance Dam. Its application would enable actually to boost the energy sector of the neighboring countries as well. That is why we are saying we would exchange efforts, we would exchange cooperation in these areas. For example, if you take Djibouti now, Ethiopia is supplying an energy to the city of Djibouti. There is also supply of some sort of energy to Kenya. And there are visions of, in fact, supplying its energy to other neighboring countries as well. Linking with others through roads, through railroads, through aviation would also enable the regional integrations. The role of the Ethiopian Airlines by covering almost all the neighboring countries is also vital and is something that we can cite as a very outstanding example in terms of infrastructure integrations.
Here I want to raise an important question. Ethiopian Airlines is being known as the pride of Africa, and currently Ethiopia is being in a construction of mega project that is Bishoftu International Airport. What's the role of Ethiopia in that area?
Well, as I have already said, Ethiopian Airlines is one of the biggest airlines in Africa. Even at the global level, it's an airline that is connecting Africans. And it has been connecting almost all African countries and connecting Africa with the rest of the world as well. Ethiopian Airlines has played very exemplary role even at a critical time when there was the prevalence of COVID. It is these airlines that have been covering almost all neighboring countries and other African countries. It is these airlines that had been supplying COVID vaccination to the rest of the world. It has played a very critical role at a very critical time when the world has been challenged by the prevalence of COVID. Now also the beginning of the construction of the biggest airlines in the world, the Bishoftu line, which you have cited, will strengthen that capacity, that service of the Ethiopian Airlines, and will strengthen Ethiopia's link with the rest of the world and link of Africa with the rest of the world as well, and integrations among neighboring countries, not only among neighboring countries, integration among African countries, and the integration of African countries with the rest of the world.
Let us see one of the fundamental pillar, that is peace and security area. How does regional integration contribute, particularly Ethiopia National Defense Force? They are contributing.
Definitely. One of the challenges of the integration in our region is peace and stability. So the strengthening of peace and stability in the region is a pillar which would enhance regional integration of the Horn of Africa. Therefore, dealing with these obstacles of peace, dealing with the root causes of peace and enabling the prevalence of peace and security in the region would in fact enhance regional integrity. In fact, it's not only peace and stability. We do have a lack of political will also on the part of the leadership of some of us, and this itself also should be overcome. And African leadership should realize that the integration among these countries will bring the integration of the resources. It will realize the integration of the efforts, the integration of the know-how, the integration of all sorts of skills. This will enhance Africa's development in general. And it is beneficial to all countries, to the people in the region. So I think these challenges like problems of stability and others should be overcome. Ethiopia has been contributing its level best by strengthening its defense forces. Ethiopia has been also contributing to the peace and stability of the region, as you know very well. It has been contributing to the peace and stability in almost all regions in Africa. It has been sending its peacekeeping forces to Rwanda, Burundi, Somalia, South Sudan.
Yeah.
And this shows how Ethiopia is very much committed to the peace and security of the region. not only to its region, to Africa in general, even to the world. So therefore, the need for peace and stability is crucial. Ethiopia's role in this case is vital, and it should be further strengthened and enhanced.
In order to promote peace and security, institutional as well as cooperation, what is the role of regional organizations such as IGAD in promoting integration?
Well, IGAD is the very objective of it is from the very inception. The very objective of this organization, this regional organization, is strengthening integration of the region. This is its vital mission. So IGAD should be strengthened. In fact, the strength of IGAD emanates from the strength of the member nations. Member countries should support its very objective, should work along the very charters and the visions of IGAD, and the IGAD's role should be strengthened. And if that happens, if that is the case, definitely regional integration will be enhanced and will be realized in a short time possible.
Let us come to how the countries that you have mentioned before, and we can see Ethiopia, Somalia, Kenya, South Sudan, as well as Eritrea, we are in this area, need to take into consideration how they deepen their integration, and they are also a message to countries like Egypt because they want to enter our internal affairs as well as our neighboring.
Well, these member countries of the region, the Horn countries, should focus on these challenges that they have at their hand. For example, the issue of peace, stability of peace is very critical, as we have been talking about it at length. The conflicts within the state and out of state should be overcome. And the regional countries should deploy their efforts and should overcome the unnecessary interference by others. You know, another challenge for this integrity of the Horn country is actually the global situations, the interference of countries like the ones you have mentioned for their vested interest. In fact, they come under the cover of the interest of the regional countries, but they are here, they interfere for their vested interest. It's not in the interest, that's not in the interest of the regional countries. So the regional countries, the Horn countries, should be aware of this and should overcome it and should deploy their efforts and cooperate on fighting these external forces that would like to maneuver the internal problems.
All right.
And if this happens, definitely they will overcome it, yes.
So let us see the role of media, youths, and as well as civil society organization, because they are among the key factors. So let us start with media. What role do media play as well as in promoting?
Media, as you know, plays a very critical role in the process of regional integrations. Media plays a very critical role in any socio-economic activity that we see here and there. So the media should be used properly. This is actually the digital media age. This is the age of social media.
Right.
The monopoly of states on media is diminishing. Social media is taking over the forum. There are a lot of problems that emanate from disinformation, misinformations, and malinformations. And countries should be aware, people should be aware of the negative consequences of these misinformations, malinformations, and disinformations that could come from the other sector areas. And everyone should be prepared, and the constructive media activities by way of creating regional integration should be encouraged, and awareness of the society, awareness of the citizens, awareness of the youth, awareness of the leadership should be increased so that the very negative effects of some media outcomes should be overcome. and media should be used in a very constructive manner. If that is the case, definitely integration will be enhanced and will be realized.
So what is your vision for the future of Horn of Africa integration?
Well, definitely, I know the Horn will overcome all the current problems that we can see, the problems we have cited. We have cited the problems of political instability, lack of political will. We cite some other natural problems also that could create some challenges. These are areas where we witness a lot of climatic problems as well. So if African leadership, if the leadership of the region, if the people of the region, if the honest friends abroad support and give a genuine support, definitely integration will be realized in a short span of time.
What is your message, particularly to the youths, because they are the backbone? They are not only the leaders of tomorrow, but they are also today's leaders. So in area of foreign affairs, particularly including inclusive or making that environment conducive for them.
Well, the youth, as you have said, is the future leader of our region, the future leaders of our countries, and they have to create a better future for themselves by concentrating on constructive areas for the countries. They should overcome challenges that come from various sectors, from various areas. As you know, in our region, we have been talking about instability, we have been talking about problems that may come from terrorism. There are problems that also come from media campaigns, malinformation, disinformation, and others. The youth is sometimes victim of these media campaigns, and they should be aware of this, and they should work strongly and work towards creating stable, prosperous, democratic countries, and that countries that work towards integrations and the countries that would realize integrations.
Last but not least, you have been to Egypt and you serve as an ambassador. So what is your message to the Egyptian? Is it really the interest of the Egyptian or the elites, or what have you mentioned? You have mentioned before the campaign of the social media about.
Well, the message I want to convey to the people of Egypt and others is that Ethiopia is not interested in hurting any of its neighbors, including the downstream countries like Egypt and Sudan. The Grand Renaissance Dam, as we have been saying all the way, will not hurt Egyptians. We would like this Nile River to be the source of cooperations, not the source of confrontations. We hope the Grand Renaissance Dam will benefit them as well. They can get reasonable, healthy energy with reasonable prices. And we can cooperate in so many areas. So we owe each other. We have a lot of things to do together. Confrontation won't be in our interest. It will be against our national interests. Therefore, let's talk, let's work together, let's share our interests, let's build our world, let's build peace and stability.
Thank you very much, distinguished ambassador. That's all we have, our dear audience. In our today's episode, we have gone through, focus on very important issue about foreign policy, its objective, Horn area, as well as the interest and the role of Ethiopia in integrating the Horn of Africa. That is all I have for you today. Goodbye.